Welcome to Diary of an Ex-Ho. I'm Cheri Hardman. I'm your ex-ho, and today's guest is Stephen Michael James. So sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and remember the old saying, always a bridesmaid when you're a hoe.
All right. Well, my name is Stephen Michael James. I'm from Granite Falls, Washington. I am straight. I'm a he, him, and I am married. So there it is. There's the introduction.
Hey, well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to sit down and talk with you.
All right. So have you watched the podcast at all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've only seen one episode all the way through. I think it was the Laura Lyons one, but I've seen a lot of clips, Corey and Carol.
Okay.
That's a fun.
In the more recent ones, we start off doing a Marry, Shag, Kill.
Oh.
So I'm going to go get that. And I always orient it to the person that I am doing this for. And so, not knowing you very well, I went to your Facebook page, looked around a little bit. So this is, well, you'll see. So, you know the premise. So you have three people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to marry one, you have to shag one, you have to kill one. This first one, I got to skip over because this one's not yours. This one is yours. Now, I'll tell you, it's the weird Facebook post edition. Because you mentioned a quote Helen Mirren had said. You said something about Cheers, hence the Shelley Long. And then you also mentioned how Dolly Parton is, whatever. So,
yeah.
So, who are you going to marry? Who are you going to shag? Who are you going to kill?
Oh, well, really fast. I mean, I am a big fan of Dolly. I mean, since I was a young man, very, very, she got my attention very well as a young man. I remember she's in the Beverly Hillbillies, the 90s remake of the old TV show. I remember seeing her, and that was the first time I saw her. She still looks great. She looks great, especially for her age. But, with Dolly, she's just such a wonderful person, with all of her philanthropy and donations, that she just would be the person I'd want to marry for sure. She would take care. She's the perfect person to take care of you and be a good partner. And also, she got a little attitude, so she'll let you know when you're not acting right. Shag. Well, for whatever reason, Helen Mirren comes up to me for shag, and that's, she just has this kind of she has a seductive quality to her. I know she's done some nudity in films, and I can't think of a lot of stuff off the top of my head, but she's been in movies my whole life.
Right.
So yeah, I would say just her. She's got that seductive feel, and Shelley Long, definitely kill. Not my favorite character from Cheers.
Right.
He wasn't Frasier's favorite character either. So, although my wife is a big fan of that movie, Troop Beverly Hills, so she might not like that answer. But sorry, Shelley Long, you're out. All
right, bye, Shelley. Okay, that was kind of too easy one now that I think about it. Right.
Well, it's weird. I can't. Those three, I wouldn't even think that I posted anything about them. But you're on Facebook forever and just always reposting random stuff.
And sometimes, like, I'm really stretching to come up with these after so many of them.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm old, so I don't know a lot of young people. But anyway, those came straight off your page, so that's why I got those three.
Perfect.
All right. When it comes to sex, would you rather watch or be watched?
Ooh, I don't think I've ever been watched, so I think I would watch. I think I'd be a watcher, for sure.
Okay. All right. When you were young, what did your parents or whoever raised you, what do they call private parts?
So I mostly grew up with my mom. I don't remember my dad really. They got divorced and all that, so I didn't spend a lot of time with him. My mom had some funny words though. I don't really remember what she called like a penis. Like it's probably like your private, or, maybe when you're really young, like your pee. But a funny thing that she always used to say about my sisters, my younger sisters, is for vagina, she would say the word nanny. She'd say, that's your nanny. Which, and then later when I found out nanny is a word for somebody who watches you, I always thought that was just like a funny word association. But yeah, my mom always had these funny words that were always a little bit different than what other people would use. Oh, and that was one. Yeah, that's like your nanny, which I always think that's kind of cute though. It's kind of cute. For my daughter though, she's 6. We say that we're very clinical. We say vagina. That's the word that we like to use.
That makes sense. So the next question I usually ask is, were your parents good relationship role models? Sounded like that didn't happen, at least with your like original parents. Did your mom ever get remarried or anything?
This is all right. You ready for this? So my parents, they got together in the early 80s. I was born in 85. So, small town outside of Sacramento called Woodland, California. It's kind of like if you ever see the movie American Graffiti, I heard that Woodland was kind of like that in the 50s and 60s. And then in the 80s, started to expand a little bit. So everybody knew each other is basically what I'm getting to. It's a small town, big enough to not be, kind of be close to a big city, but still doesn't cross that threshold. So my mom was 6 years older than my dad. So they knew each other, but they weren't dating that young. She got married to some guy and had a child with him. And from what I understand, and I don't really know a lot of the details, is they got married in Mexico. And when they decided to split up, they were like, well, that marriage was never really legal anyways. So when her and my dad got together, came into the picture, and eventually when I was born, my dad was 23 and my mom was 29. My mom also had a 9-year-old child. So I think in the beginning, the relationship was probably just fun, a lot of partying. That was the 80s. They both of them have like, they like to have fun and, that kind of stuff. But with drugs, and also I think the age gap, and also just personality wise, they're a perfect example of what I feel like so many people in the past have just got together, just to get together, not necessarily that they were compatible, And so, no, it was not a good relationship. Like I said, they got divorced when I was really young. I don't really remember them being together that much. But from what I understand, it was not great towards the end. And even like when I was a kid, we had those really bad, custody battles, going to court, that kind of stuff as children. Never fun experience. My mom, she dated a few guys after they got divorced, but at the same time, her dad had passed away kind of at the same time period. So she was kind of struggling with drugs. And some of the guys that were coming into the house were not good guys, she's been in the medical field her whole life and was a nurse at the county jail there in Woodland, and sometimes would date some of the guys getting out of the jail. Some of these guys would bring in, bad influences. And I think even at one time, one of these guys had hit me, way before I was young enough to remember. But, my dad tells the story of, seeing bruises on me and stuff like that. So after a few relationships not going right, she pretty much hasn't been with anybody for long time, decades, long time, and I think she's a little lonely, especially at being the age that she is. But also, I think a lot of women would agree with me that the older you get, the harder it is to find, good people out there, good men out there. It's hard to find a good man in general, but especially the older you get. My dad, on the other hand, he had a big drug problem. I think he had a lot of issues growing up, and probably I just found out my daughter's got severe ADHD, like combined ADHD was the clinical term, and my dad probably had that growing up, so he didn't have the best childhood, and uh, drugs. He was just getting into drugs, and kind of got stuck on that for a long time, and he got married again, had a few kids, but that was even a worse relationship because that woman was just 10 times crazier than my mom. So yeah, my role models for relationships, at least from my parents, were not good at all. I never thought that I would be in a marriage or long-term relationship. I didn't think anybody would. I don't know. I just didn't think that, like, I just felt like it was meant for some people and not meant for others. So long answer there, but yeah, basically, I just that's it. Not good role models.
Well, okay, so that's interesting that you say that because, then I think, well, how does that affect you? And you say, you didn't feel like you were meant for that or whatever. And I know because I know what that feels like. I felt like that way my whole life. But you're married and you have been for quite a while, right?
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. It's been pretty. There's been some challenges for sure.
Right. Well, so do you think that your parents' chaotic relationships have anything to do with how and why you got married to your wife?
No, I think, to be honest with you, and I think she is fine with me saying it. I think I got married before I was ready. I think that it was one of those things. We were together for about 3 years, and I just, I loved her. I wanted to stay with her, but I didn't necessarily want to get into the legal stuff. It felt too adult. It felt like too much of a responsibility.
Mhm.
And it felt scary. It felt scary because everybody that I've ever known that had been married to that point had gotten divorced. I mean, I had good friends that had been together for, almost 20 years, and they'd gotten divorced. So, it's a scary thing. And then over time, I I almost felt like it was a badge of honor, and not necessarily to my mom, because I'm more sympathetic to my mom, but I always felt like anytime I was doing better than my dad, I was like, all right, good, I'm doing it. Like my marriage has been lasted longer. I'm not being fired from jobs. I'm not getting hooked on drugs. So it's almost like this competition to try and, you know, uh, be a better man than my dad was. Um,
Wait,
and pretty good. I was on a roll there. I've actually done counseling, so I'm totally opening up to people is pretty easy to me. But on the contrary, opening up to people that I'm close to is very hard. So,
mm.
so
And
like,
how long have you been married?
so 2015, so about almost 10 years. So we're about 9 years now. And I would say over time, like I was saying before, I wasn't necessarily ready, but as time had gone on, and I felt like I reached some sort of a plateau, like I finally did better than my dad or something.
Mhm.
Then I started to really focus on you know uh, trying to be better husband and make things work. And that's also, our daughter was born in about 2018, so 3 years into the marriage. So that presents itself another whole set of challenges. But yeah, it's so 10 years coming up, and yeah, I don't know, we're gonna try and do something exciting. I'm also gonna be 40 because I got married about 4 days before my 30th birthday.
Oh,
So it's going to be 10-year anniversary, 40th birthday.
oh, you gotta have a party or go on a good trip or something good.
Yeah, I've never been to Vegas. We're kind of talking about doing that, and I'm like, well, if I go to Vegas, I'm gonna have to do comedy while I'm there. It's like
Well,
every
I'm a Vegas expert, so if you
perfect. I'm
need,
gonna hit you up, and I'm sure you
yeah.
can help me get the deals because we don't need anything super fancy.
Okay, so Well, I'm going to take you back to your childhood now, kind of.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about what I call your sexual awakening. So, like when you first noticed as a kid, like, wait a minute, there's something going on in this world that I didn't know about before, like sex, like whether it was something you felt in your body or something you observed or somebody told you about. Can you kind of tell me about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. It's kind of weird to talk about it just because my daughter is 6, but I would say probably around the time I was like 7. I remember I had an older cousin that came to visit, and we'd watch a lot of horror movies, scary movies, and I think one of the movies, like they would have the Friday the 13th, the whole kids camp counselors out in the middle of the woods, and Jason's out there chasing them with a knife. And I remember all those movies. There's always these scenes where the kids are being very intimate together, or there'll be scenes where there's like a girl taking a shower or changing. And yeah, I can remember kind of that time period, like, whoa, hey, something is woken up a little bit. But I would say it really didn't. I don't think it really materialized to like a sexual feeling until I was like maybe 12. When I was 12, I used to watch a Jojo Blacko would love this, but I used to watch a lot of pro wrestling. And but unlike JoJo, I was more excited about the girls in the in the wrestling. And so there would be some of the, they'd have the big muscular guys come out, but then there'd be like a girl on the arm, and she'd be wearing either like a nice, long sparkly dress or something very, athletic and tight. And so like kind of that. And I think at that time I started watching MTV and VH1. So I remember the Spice Girls were big at that time. And there was this TV show called Boy Meets World. They had like the hottie of the show, and so all those things at that time, when I was about 12 or so, I think was like I was really like, okay, I now understand what this is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what is your type? Like your physical type? What do you find yourself attracted to typically?
It's kind of changed over the years. I talked about the Spice Girls. They're like kind of 5 archetypes. There's so many. You have the athletic one, you have the voluptuous one, you have the one that's the model. So I would have different favorite Spice Girls, I guess, when I was younger. But um, in my angsty years, my teenage years, listening to like Nirvana and Marilyn Manson, I really liked the goth girls. I was really into that. I was really excited about piercings and tattoos and dyed hair and fishnets and all that. And so yeah, I was always, and even now I could still, if a girl has like a really bright colored hair, it's gonna make me look. Whether I look twice is a different story, but
Right.
I still, I mean, that's just, I think when you're young, I think you always, that kind of sets you up for life, as kind of what you like. But as I've gotten older, um, I'm almost 40, and I guess there was a point a few years ago where girls in their 20s just started seeming too young, and not that I'm looking because I'm not available, but it just like when I have friends that would show me pictures of these girls, I would look at them and be like, whoa, that's a girl, that's not a, but again, teach their own, adults, consenting adults, whatever. It's just for me personally, um, I tend to kind of like older women now, women that just don't look like young girls. I kind of like the mom look a little bit, and I'm not.
Wait,
I
wait, wait. What's a mom look?
I would say when I say the mom look, I just like you know, I'm totally fine with you know, the sweatpants and the t-shirt and or the yoga pants or the jeans and you know, somebody who's not always looking to hook up, you know, like just a regular looking person. Body type as well, like I, you know, you know, when my generation, you know, used to be very critical on people with weight. And even me, like I kind of, you know, even me, I have body, you know, dysmorphia a little bit, but few years ago, you know, I just kind of not accepted, but just like made it okay, made it known like, yeah, you know, like I'm okay with women of larger size. I'm okay with women that are curvy, you know, and it's like, and now it's become the normal, like everybody's like fine with it, but it was kind of a taboo thing, you know, just a few years ago to say it like, oh, you know, he likes fat girls, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like, and also you want to protect, you know, whoever you're with as well, because you love that person, but maybe somebody else might have some sort of a might want to just be an asshole about it. So, you know, it's kind of a scary thing to put yourself out there and let people know, hey, this is what I like. But yeah, I mean, it's I absolutely if I was single and my wife was not around, I would probably be looking for somebody that was like a mom type, you know, doesn't need to be rail thin, you know.
Mhm. Gotcha. Can you think of any like mainstream movies that had like a hot like love scene or sex scene that you always remembered or kind of went to?
There was this well, I don't know if it was a great movie, but there was this movie called Wild Things in the early
Oh
2000s.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
it had a famous scene with Nev Campbell and I can't remember Denise
Denise
Richards.
Richards.
Yeah, that was the famous. I
Yeah.
don't think anybody remembers the movie; they just remember the scene. But so yeah, I remember that one. That was a big one. Uh, you know, there was some other. You know, I watched a lot of TV as well, and something that had a pretty big impact on me, which kind of I don't know what it means. Maybe you can tell me what it means. I used to watch this show with my mom called Oz. It's an HBO drama about prison. And there was a lot of sex scenes between guys, sometimes not even consensual. Um, and so, yeah, for whatever reason, that pops in my head because it made a huge impact on me. First of all, it's kind of my first kind of viewing of some sort of gay entertainment, you know, and then also the violence of prison at the same time. So I saw kind of the same time I saw like the mainstream, you know, love scenes, and then I saw these kind of like these
Mhm.
gritty like man on man scenes, you know. So yeah, kind of, and then right around that time period when I was in high school is kind of when I got the internet, and then as soon as you get the internet, you just discover everything. So,
Right, for sure.
mhm.
Do you watch porn now?
Yeah, I do. It's I feel a little shame about it because you know I am married and stuff, but I think everybody does. It's just how much do you watch it, and you know,
Right.
is it controlling your life?
Do you have like a go-to category?
I again, I'm looking for moms. I'm looking for I'm looking for not stepmoms, but just older women. Like again, if I see sometimes they just look too young for me, you know, like I see this girl and I'm like, yeah, no, she just seems she might be 22, but to me she looks 16, and it's just that's not attractive to me. So
Right, right.
I do like, you know, I do like the older ones, you know, kind of my age, and you know, from like 35 on to old
Hmm.
60 or what. Yeah.
Um, do you think porn's had any effects on your life in any way?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I've had even I mean as a teenager, I mean um when you are socially awkward and you don't have a lot of friends and you want to meet girls and you have all this testosterone and you pretty much have access to whatever you want, it's like, well, I'm sad, I'm depressed, I can watch porn and, feel better about myself. I was in this weird, I come from this weird time period of the transition, because when I was like in junior high, there wasn't internet porn. I mean, there was like pictures and stuff, but we always had like weird stories. Like somebody would find a bag of porn mags in the bushes at the apartment complex, or I had a friend that had, like, his mom had this VHS tape and popped it in, and it's like this weird underground, like, not sexy at all tape, and then yeah, then as soon as the videos started coming out, it's like, well, nothing. It's like, this is everything that you need, pretty much, as a lonely guy. I mean, I think
Right.
once you get older and you start to want more things and more meaning in life and something more from a person other than a physical, then you can kind of get out of it. But yeah, I think it's definitely, can be dangerous. It could be addicting, and I don't even know about, like, I just wonder what, everybody today, the youth of today, they're watching it so much earlier than even I watched it. I probably watched that stuff when I was 14 or 13. So I don't know, kids are watching it way too
Right.
at this.
Right.
So.
Well, the other thing, and then this is something that, like, my thing, it's like porn actually teaches men to be bad lovers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because, like,
Well,
we don't really like it like that, and we don't really come like that. And um, I don't know. I just wish it was a little more accurate.
yeah. Well, let me tell you, I think this would be a great comedy bit. Like, if we could develop this into a nice bit where we just talk about, like, the difference between porn and real sex. Because, like, when I see the penetration, the in and out, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know any woman that really enjoys that, maybe, but I think it's more like, the way it feels the best doesn't look the best on camera, like, sometimes you got to just go in there and just hang out for a while. You don't need to do these crazy far motions. These guys are doing some crazy, I don't know what they're doing, and then, um, yeah, I mean, to each their own. I don't like some of the degrading aspects of porn. Some women like to be controlled and dominated and stuff like that, and that's cool. But I'm kind of more of a romantic guy. I mean, I enjoy orgasms and giving orgasms and all that kind of stuff, and the different positions, but ultimately, like, I feel better when I'm with a person that I really care about. It just because if you mess up the first time, you could try again, and if you
Right.
mess up with somebody you don't know, you might not get another chance.
Okay, so what is your definition of amazing sex?
Oh, amazing. Well, oh geez, do I need some candles? No. I'm pretty basic. I mean, uh Uh, I like a lot of foreplay. I'm a big fan of foreplay. A lot of kissing. Um, Interestingly enough, my wife and I, we didn't do a lot of kissing for the first few years. She was just not a mouth kisser, and I'm just like dying. Like, come on, let's. And I kind of got her into it now, but it took a while. But yeah, I mean, uh, a lot of a lot of the style of lovemaking that I have came from, like, watching Cinemax and stuff when I was a kid, and like those movies, those fake Cinemax movies, they were like, they had the music on, and it was just really romantic. And so I'm like, I like a lot of that. I don't need music, but I like the kissing and a lot of touching, and I just don't like to rush through it, Uh, I could be. I'm a fan of oral, receiving it, giving it. The different positions. Um, I mean, the toys for me, they're okay. I mean, it's a fun thing to bring in. I'm just I like to please, you know. I don't try to get too crazy with it. Um, but what else can I say? I'm a fan of. I'm very an old school fan of outfits as well. Maybe that's just my from the time period I come with. But if the woman has a nice outfit and it's romantic and there's a lot of touching and kissing and different positions and then I feel that I have done a good job, then it's a good night for me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I only need one orgasm. That's it. You know, I feel bad. Well, it's it's not very often that I don't give any orgasms, but I would feel bad if I did give at least a few. So, uh,
All
a
right.
little bit. I mean, it's kind of. This is the podcast, so it's funny to talk about it out loud but that's what this is. So,
But just
I'm
know
just a
that
little shy. I'm a little shy, but you know, I'm a big lover for sure.
now, what's your wife going to say when she watches this? Like, is she going to say, "You're lying"?
No, she just wants to make sure I don't get any too specific about,
Right.
super specific things,
I know. I
you
had
know.
to tell my husband, "Don't watch this podcast. Just don't." All
Yeah.
right, let's go do the wheel of dirty questions.
All
Okay.
right. Sure.
Hang on. I'm going to go grab that. We're going to share the sound too, because I always forget to do that. So we got to get out of here.
Oh,
Okay,
Dolly.
nice. Come on. Okay, and we're going to go here. All
Oh,
right.
this is cool. Nice.
You only
You
have
got
to answer one question, so I'm going to spin and then be ready.
All right. I mean, I could do multiple. I'm fine.
Do you think bigger is better?
Bigger is better. Definitely. It's I've only been with one woman that was extremely skinny, and I mean, it was okay. It was okay. I'm sure she's doing great, but it's nice to have a little bit of softness. I like the softness.
All right. How is your body image about yourself?
Oh, I hate it. I do not like my body at all. I'm not even. I mean, I think I weigh like 183 or something, but I guess I was teased a lot when I was younger. You know, one thing that it's like there's this never ending battle of masculinity that all men have, and so when you're young, especially my generation, when people would challenge your masculinity and call you gay or something like that, it really hurt your feelings. And like one of the things that they would make fun of guys that were a little overweight would be like, you got boobs, you got man boobs and stuff like that. So like I've just to this day always had this like hard time being shirtless in public. Like I will do it. I mean, I'll go take my kid to Great Wolf Lodge or go swimming or something like that. But I'm just even then like it's been a while since I've been to the gym. But if I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting weights. I just feel shy. I feel shy with my shirt off, and that's only in public. I mean, in private, I'm fine. I mean, I can
Right.
walk around the house naked, but in public, it's a different thing. And I feel like I just gotta like get over that hurdle because Seattle wants to see me without a shirt on,
Right.
especially on the comedy stages. I mean, why not, right?
Right.
Somebody's got to do it. Actually, Corey actually gave me a compliment because I made this joke at the open mic, and I said, "You guys got 4 minutes. Give you the light. After 5, I'm going to tackle you." And Corey Bennett, he's on stage, and he's like, "Steven said he's going to tackle anybody that goes off for over 5 minutes, so I'm going to stay up here for 20 minutes." So I got my answer finally. I always wanted to know if dudes found me attractive because I don't know. I mean, I'm so oblivious to anything. I mean, I've never been a player. I mean, I think I talked about on the last on when you were on my podcast that, you know, I've only had long-term girlfriends, you know, for years at a time. And so, you know, if anybody's checking me out, I have no idea. I'm totally, if anybody out there is like thinks I'm hot, I don't know. And
Well,
I'd like to know. It make me feel good. Like if Corey thinks I look good, then that makes me feel good. You know.
my guess is that pretty much everybody's checking you out. So, what's the best compliment you've ever gotten on your naked body?
Wow. Uh, yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I've had my wife say your dick looks really big, and that's pretty much that's like, wow, it looks really big, and I'll put it back and say, well, it's because of you, you know. So, you know, but that's pretty much a good compliment. I mean,
Yeah, that is. Do you have any sexual regrets?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so the first person that I lost my virginity to, so I was 18. I actually have a joke about it, and it goes into this funny thing, but you know, when I was like 16, 17, I had girlfriends and stuff, and there's like always these weird situations. Like me and this one girl were like a couple times we were getting close, and then like her mom came home, or like she came over to my house, and then like the one day that she came over, my mom came home, you know, so um and then like I went to another girl's house, and then all this weird stuff happened. And then so when I was 18, I was like, oh man, I just ready to get this done, lose my virginity. And I had this girl come visit me from California, and she was a friend, but more importantly to the situation, she was the ex-girlfriend of one of my best friends at the time. And I was just I don't know what was going to happen. I just knew she was coming up to visit. I kind of had an idea, but yeah, and then we, you know, we hooked up, and I still feel bad about it. You know, I feel bad because, you know, guy's one of my best friends, and it's so long, it's so much water under the bridge, but just, you know, I wouldn't want anybody to. I've had friends sleep with my exes, and it doesn't feel good, you know. So that was the one and only time that's ever happened in my life, and I do feel bad about it still. But so I do regret that. And plus, uh, how much time we have? We have some time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when you are a virgin, you are almost willing to do anything for somebody. And for whatever reason, this girl who came to visit me, she got this wild idea and said, you should get your dick pierced. And I said, oh, okay. And so I never thought about it. I never wanted to do it, but I wanted to impress her. And so we went to the thing, and I got it done. And then even then, back then, like I still had these weird thoughts of like masculinity, and I was like, oh my god, a guy's gonna pierce me, you know. And then so a guy pull my dick out for this guy, and then they clamp it down, they shove a needle through it, and it's crazy, you know. And it's because of that girl, you know. And then just whatever for you know, I went to visit California after that, and you know, we were together a few more times, and it just wasn't right. It just didn't feel right. Wasn't fun. Um, wasn't as fun as it could have been. And so yeah, I definitely regret that. But yeah, she was instrumental in that. And then the next girl I was with, who I was with for a very long time, she was kind of scared of the piercing. So I taken it out, and then overnight had it closed up. So I never put it back in. But yeah, so there you go. I went through that. So I don't, when people call in for work, I'm like, hey, I had a needle in my dick, okay, and I still went to work. So I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it was almost 20 years ago at this point. So, but it was, I mean, you know, who knows?
Yeah.
I could have had a different life if I had left it in. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Do you have anything left on your sexual bucket list that you haven't done yet?
I don't think so. I think I had, when I was younger, I would say I was really interested in like, oh, I want to have a threesome. I want to be with two girls. But once you start to like think about it, and especially if it's like somebody that you're in a relationship with, it feels like it would be a very tricky situation. I think it'd be better if you were single and it was just kind of a hookup, a random hookup, or maybe some friends. But yeah, I would say I definitely wanted that when I was younger, but now, I mean, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like I would enjoy it. I think it would be too hard. I think I'd be too worried about what everybody else is feeling at the time. And yeah, I mean, as far as like, anything with one-on-one, I mean, I think you've pretty much done almost all of it. I don't, yeah, no, I mean, if I was comfortable with my body and maybe I was in good shape, I would be very interested in uh, you know showing it off. So I'd be like, uh, uh, let's go have sex in public, or I'm gonna go run naked across the street, or so if I felt comfortable like that, then I would love to do that. I think that would be very freeing. But at this point, no, I'm gonna need I'm just gonna keep it minimal for now. So yeah, like it goes back to your question you said earlier, do you like to watch or be watched? And yeah, I mean, if I was comfortable, maybe I'd like to be watched, but at this point I'm not ready for that. So
I gotcha.
mhm.
What is your host song? What song that when you hear it, it wakes up your host spirit?
My host spirit. I like Kesha. I'm a big fan of Kesha. I mean, like the easiest, like the uh like WAP is like the obvious one that everyone, Megan Thee Stallion, but I think Kesha's like the party girl. Like there's this song TikTok, and she says like, wake up in the morning with a bottle of Jack, leave for the night and I ain't coming back, or something like that. And it's like, all right, she's gonna have some fun tonight, and so, and it's like that upbeat, it's kind of that upbeat dance kind of party song. And so I think that's a good, I think that's a good host song for sure.
Okay. What is your Instagram?
That is Stephen MJ Comedy on Instagram. Also on it's the same thing on YouTube. And the only one that's different is TikTok. It's Stephen Michael James, because for whatever reason TikTok banned my other username.
Oh.
They're crazy. I don't use TikTok that much, but no,
Okay.
got to put it all on there. So
this episode is going to come out on Wednesday.
cool.
So do you have anything that you want to promote that's Wednesday and later?
Wednesday and later. Not really. I mean, by the time this comes out, I would have done a little feature at Tony V's. I would have done the round 2 of The Voice, the comedy Voice. And yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, the big thing about the comedy Voice is it's whether I get through the next round or not, it's just really cool to be included with all these people that are just really talented, and to get some really good constructive feedback. I mean, from you, from Richie, and yeah, from some of the other guys that I've talked to, guys and girls. It's really it's a cool thing to help you kind of develop. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be part of it, be part of the whole scene. And I mean, 12/12, I got a show in Tacoma, and that's my 2-year comedy anniversary. So
cool.
I'm excited for that. Doris, I think she's probably on an episode of yours too. She's putting that on. So a shout out to all the great comics that have been on the Diary of an Ex-Ho podcast. And I'm excited to see what you do with it next. I mean, you do the shows, and I think now got to put out some t-shirts and some hats,
Yeah, I do have some t-shirts. Okay, so I don't know if I really prepared you for this, but now is the time when I ask you to tell me a sex story.
Okay.
Entertaining in whatever way you think is entertaining.
Oh, okay.
If you need
Well,
a minute to think, we got a minute, but
I mean, I'm already stuff's popping in, and it's like I need to get things off my chest. So,
all right.
so yeah, when I was a younger guy, I was very it's kind of shy and kind of hard to talk to girls and stuff like that. And then once I started playing in a band, I started to feel like I was getting attention. That could be a whole nother podcast we could do where it's like, wait a minute, you need to do something to feel like you're worth something. Yeah, I do, but either way, I remember this time I was sitting at the table with these two girls, and like it was one of those tables where a bunch of people would sit together, and it was just a random friend group, and then people left. And I remember sitting there, and like a bunch of people left. It was with these two girls, and I was like, oh, look at me, the lucky guy with two girls. And then one of them was like, well, luckily none of them's interested in you, or something like that, like just a little bitch, a little bitch thing. Fast forward a couple of months later, my band is playing at the school. That girl starts talking to me. And she's just like, hey, you want to hang out and stuff like that? And then, we hang out throughout the day, and she's like laying with me on a couch and writing her number on my hand and all that. So yeah, I was gonna go to her house that night. I was really excited. Still virgin at the time, and she just seemed like she was just very ready to go. Is the best way to put it. She lived with her parents and her family, but she had this like kind of separate dwelling that was on the back of the property. So where I lived in Woodland, it wasn't like the country, but it was like a regular neighborhood, big, huge, like kind of 4 or 5 bedroom house, and then in the back there was this little pool house type apartment, and she stayed there by herself. And so
now, how old were you guys?
I think she was 16 and I was 17.
Okay, let me just do a little commercial here. Parents, if you have a little house off the house, don't let your 16-year-old live in it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So much trouble.
I seem to remember her having a very not great relationship with her dad as well. So that probably had something to do with it. But yeah, so I was not experienced, and kissing and grinding and clothes coming off and stuff like that. And it was just, for whatever reason, I think it was the 90s, they had just pounded all this stuff in our head, like, if you don't use a condom, they're going to get pregnant or you're going to get AIDS. And so I was like, oh, I don't want to do this without a condom. So she's like, oh, it's okay. And she goes and gets a condom. And I'm like, all right. And it was, so this apartment thing, it was like kind of a main living room. And then there was like a bathroom and a little tiny closet that had a bed in it. And so the main room was big. It was kind of drafty, a little cold. I don't know other guys, but when you're nude and it's cold, it doesn't really help with the anatomy there. So went into the smaller room there, and yeah, started taking things off. And I had definitely had experience with the breasts before, but then she was like, well, are you gonna do the bottom? And I was like, oh, okay, I never done that before. And so did that a little bit, and it was a new experience. And then I, at the same time, because I told you I was kind of this weird depressed kid, I would always be randomly taking pills and stuff like that, and anything I can get my hands on. And it was usually like over the counter stuff, like I would take like cough medicine or something like that. And so I already didn't feel like I could fully be excited because of whatever cough medicine I was on. And then I was just I was so nervous and trying to get focused and stuff like that. And then we're kissing on the bed. And then I'm like, all right, this is going to happen. All right, we're ready. And then like, I did this condom and I like put it on the top of the pillow, and then it like falls off the pillow and then the back of the bed. And then it's like, then I'm like trying to like, I'm like, oh, I dropped. I got to get up, and we're trying to like trying to move the bed and grab the condom, and then I'm like trying to stay hard, and I can't stay hard, and then I was just feeling. Then we just ended up laying naked on the couch, just kind of like watching TV for a little bit. And I think the plan was we were going to try and get back to it, but then we started falling asleep, and then I just went home and then lost my chance. And then next time I tried to hang out with her, I think her dad said that she doesn't live there anymore. So yeah, it was when I was younger, I was like, man, I wish I could have gone through with that. She was so hot, that kind of stuff. But now I really don't feel bad about it. It's things happen. It's a fun story. If I can figure out how to turn that story into a comedy bit, I'm gonna do it, because
well, you will. That's the thing that it's too bad young men aren't taught. Like, stuff like that happens. It's like,
yeah,
don't worry, the boner will come back at some point.
yeah.
You don't gotta chase it.
I have learned not to give up. I have learned that if at first you don't succeed, just give it a little time, and then try again.
And by the way, if you were naked when you were bent over looking for that condom, she probably lost hers too. So
yeah, I know, right?
and when my husband goes to pick something up, I'm like, oh, yeah. That's a weird angle. So
yeah.
All right, well, we're done. That was it, man. You did a good job. We had fun.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's fun. I'm happy to do it, and no, I'm excited. This is the first podcast that somebody else asked me to be on, so it's very cool.
Well, good.
We'll see what happens.
We'll get more views than I got on yours. Sorry. So
no. I mean, mine is yours started a while ago, but the weird thing is like these algorithms and every time you start something new, it's like you're starting from scratch, and it takes a long time to kind of build up a thing.
This is my third podcast, so I know.
Oh, wow.
And then finally, that just all of a sudden, this one started getting like 10,000 views on episodes. I was like, I don't know how, but okay, I'll take it.
It's perfect. You found a perfect niche, and there's so many different things that you can do with it. So very excited to be part of it. So thank you.
Well, I'm excited to have you. I'm glad you're on here. I can't wait to see your set on Tuesday.
Oh yeah, I'm excited too.
All right, so I'll see you then, and this will come out on Wednesday.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Cheri.
Bye.
Take care.